Have you ever been in the middle of a project and ran out of paper? Or just love the paper but wish the pattern was a different size? Or maybe you love the look of paper piecing but hate all the fussy cutting? Then keep on watching. All you need is one of the Cat's Pajamas paper packs and Silhouette Studio. Silhouette Studio is a powerful app that's free to use, and you don't even need a Silhouette machine to use it. It's Alma from the Cat's Pajamas here, and we're going to be using our Spring is Here paper pack and our Bunnies in Flight Digi-Stamp set. Silhouette Studio has many different editions, but we're going to be using the most basic edition, and that one just happens to be free. Let's start by loading the digital paper pack into Silhouette Studio. Go to the Library tab located at the upper right and click it. You'll be taken to the library that shows you all the designs you've purchased or saved. Since we're going to be loading DigiPaper, head down to the Pattern section. Right-click on the Pattern folder and select New Folder, and add the title of the paper pack to it. Click on it, and it should say it's empty. Now navigate to where your paper is located on your computer after you've unzipped it, and drag and drop each paper into this empty space. You can also go to the File tab at the top, go to Library, and then Import to Library. The app will load the paper into the User Design section, and you'll have to move it manually to the new folder that you created in Patterns. The drag and drop method is the easiest for me, so I'm going to do that until all my DigiPapers are loaded. Once I've loaded all the papers, I can go back into the design area and they're ready to use. And from the toolbox on the right, select the palette icon, which is the Fill palette. At the top, you can see what I can fill the box with: solid colors, gradients, and pattern. Select the pattern box and scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can see all the papers that I just added. Easy peasy. Now to add them to the shape that I just made, select it and click on one of the patterns, and it'll fill the shape. If it's a seamless pattern, you'll get a continuous pattern. Pretty neat, huh? But there's more. Click the Advanced Options arrow below, and you can manipulate the pattern. You can flip the pattern, rotate it, change the angle, and even scale it. Now let me show you how you can paper piece with DigiPapers and this program. But first, I'm going to import this cute Digi-Stamp bunny from our Bunnies in Flight Digi-Stamp set. Now, if I just want the black outline, I can print it out and color it. But life is too short for just black ink, I think. So this is how you change the color. Go to the toolbox on the right and select the Trace button. It's the one that looks like a butterfly. Click on Select the Trace area and draw a box around the bunny. And I'm going to choose Solid Fill. You see that the traced area turns yellow? Sometimes you'll have to play around with the threshold buttons, but this trace looks pretty good to me. Now select Trace. Move the original image off the artboard and you'll see the traced image. To fill the color, select the tracing and go to the upper left-hand side and select your color. If you're having a hard time seeing the color, you can turn off the red outline by going to the stroke box, which is right next to the fill box, and selecting the gray diamond. Now you can print the image, or you can keep on going in Silhouette Studio. If you have a silhouette, you can do a print and cut by adding the registration marks. But if you don't, you can still use the program to paper piece and print it out in your own printer. And here's how you do it. Open the Modify panel on the right toolbar. It's marked with a rectangle and a circle. Create a rectangle and fill it with any color. Send it behind your traced image and then select both of them. Then go to the Modify panel and select Subtract All. Now this subtracts the image from the rectangle without getting rid of the original image here. You can see what I mean if we drag the rectangle over. Now all we have to do is get rid of all the parts that are not part of the original image in the rectangle. We can do this by clicking Release in the Compound Path section of the Modify panel. See how everything ungroups itself from the main panel? You can tell by all the separate boxes. Now it's just a matter of getting rid of what we don't need. Select the background, delete. Then the part that should be clear between the balloon strings, delete. This modify was a little wonky, but keep going and delete what you don't need. Remember, you can always undo if you make a mistake and you delete something that you actually needed. Now this is a good start. Now let the paper piecing begin. Let's start with the bunny. I'm going to select the ears and body of the bunny and open the fill panel. I can fill him with any color I want, or if I go to the pattern section, I can fill him with a pattern. You'll notice that each part of the bunny has scaled the pattern differently. The app sees this as a group, 3 different shapes to fill. And if that's what you want, that's okay. But I want to have the app see the 3 shapes as one. But if we want to have the app see the 3 shapes as one, we need to make it a compound path. That means multiple items stuck together to form one item. A compound path is different from a group because a group is made up of several items that retain their individuality. A compound path is several items that join together to form one. You can kind of see when I scale up the grouping, the edges where each shape meets, the pattern doesn't match. So let's make a compound path and see the difference. Go to Object, Make Compound Path, and you can see that the shapes are filled with one pattern. Okay, let's turn the rabbit back to gray. I see the nose has also turned gray, but I know that the nose separated when I released the green rectangle from being a compound path at the very beginning. And you can see that here. See the rectangles around the nose? So in order to see the nose, I'll just send the bunny to the back and you'll see the nose. It was just hiding. So now I can select the nose and fill it with one of the patterns. I think the cute red and pink dots will look really good on his nose. And now the balloons. Select the first balloon and its stem and select one of the patterns. You can see that because I didn't make it a compound path, the size of the patterns is substantially different. And I think that these should be the same size, so I'm going to make this into a compound path. Now once I do that, now you can see that the size is the same and actually looks as if we paper piece the balloon. Now if I don't like the size of the pattern, I can use the scale slider and play with the size of the pattern. Now let's do the rest of the balloons. If I don't like the angle of the paper, I can change it using the angle slider. If I don't like how the pattern is positioned in the balloon, I can click the Pan Positions button and a button will appear on the balloon and I can use it to drag the pattern until I find exactly the pattern I want in it. Now once I'm satisfied, I can print out the image. If I were to do the stem in the traditional paper piecing way, cutting and pasting on the little stems would be quite tedious. And if not glued well, it might fall off. This way, it's so much faster and I don't have to worry about glue accidents. Now if you have a silhouette, let's cut it out. Select the outline of the bunny and open the offset panel. Choose your offset distance and corner. It's kind of a mess. Let's take a closer look. This is made up of compound shapes. See how they travel together? So let's go to the Object drop-down and release the path. Now I'll just select the paths that I want to cut out. Just the outer shape and the inside between the two groups of balloons, pressing Shift after the first select to add the additional shape to it. And now I'm going to make them a compound path. Move them back to the bunny and we'll send the image to cut. it basically wants to cut everything. So I'm going to click on the No Cut button and then the Cut Edges button. And now you can see it will only cut the offset path that we created. And that's it. This was kind of a long video, but we covered how to add patterns, color your DigiStamps, and paper piece, all using a free program in our DigiPapers and DigiStamps without even needing a Silhouette machine. I hope you give it a try. Have a great day.